Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Hello MJ friends, checking in. It has been a wild 5 trading days now with a complete turn on a dime, shift in sentiment. We have the three US MJ ETFs, 2 of them starting trading today, 1 of them tomorrow. And that has brought a lot of attention back on the US MJ names. We'll do it one at a time here. Clearly the MJ sector in the US is standing out again comparative to Canada. We had upgrades and coverage initiation from Bank of America on CGC and Hexo and ACB. They had some poor words for Kron, which didn't help those bulls, but a lot is going on. So we'll take it one at a time. We'll start with the Canadian sector. We'll move on to the US sector. And congrats to the bulls on this turnaround. So we're looking at CGC, and it's really just reminding me of this period with the little higher low and higher high and a lack of follow through. We have the higher low and a higher high, and currently a lack of follow through at this point. The bulls still have a chance, and really it was, a second chance today where we got that upgrade, or I should say the initiation of coverage from Bank of America, and that provided a much higher open. We double topped with the high of yesterday first thing and consolidated most of the day. We did break that resistance at the end of the day, but only by 10 cents, 11 cents. It's not a lot of follow through. So at this point, if we lose the hourly uptrend from here, the bulls are going to say, well, here we go again. It's the same pattern as it was back here. So if we look at the hourly time frame, we have the high of pre-market is important to me on this setup, and that's going to be a key level just because there's not a whole lot of resistance where we stand between here and the low 44s. But I'm watching high, low, our lower high was set this afternoon, and the bulls have to hold 41.96 to form a higher low. If we lose the hourly uptrend from here, it will be a very similar scenario to the failed bull break, loss of the hourly uptrend, and the weakness that we saw last time around. So again, very similar to this previous 7 days, and this is now day number 5, but it's all about that hourly trend. If it breaks bullish, great sign, then that's a potential that we can close over the daily exponential resistance for the first time in about a month. But if it breaks bearish, then it's a red flag. Kron, gap down open, not much for the bears there. The bulls did buy the gap down open, and we did end up going 6%, 5% from that low to the high of the day. So there was a trade opportunity there as well. Have we changed the hourly trend? The answer is no. So we have the low of the day, high of the move, and that's actually the low of pre-market, high of the bounce, higher low, and to change the hourly trend, we have to break 1611, and to ensure that it's not a fake out, we have to break 1639 after that. So multiple resistance levels need to break for convincing follow through. If those levels break, we zoom out to the daily, and we then look for a daily lower high compared to 1814, which was our last daily lower high. If that hourly time frame breaks bearish, we're looking at the potential of another leg down. Again, the fact that we have Bank of America coming out and saying this company is looking good, this company is looking good, this company not so much. It definitely glaringly stands out, and it's probably some of the reason that Kron has been seeing so much relative weakness in the recent past. APHA is in free fall, and there's nothing worse than being in a red position and watching it free fall when you're watching all the other peers with significant bull moves. So, moment of silence for the holders on APHA. Certainly have felt that feeling before, but we are looking at daily oversold conditions approaching. We closed down at the low. We have no support nearby. The next support level is 767 and 727, and they aren't even really clear levels. It's just the only thing we have here. But again, the monthly time frame is looking for a higher low to form now. Our monthly top has been hit, and we have to form a monthly higher low at this point. If we were to gap down open tomorrow, I would be interested in an oversold bounce. Number 1, it would be a second gap down in a row. Number 2, the daily RSI is oversold. The 4-hour RSI is down at 20. The hourly RSI, and this is after our candlestick is cooling it off a little bit, but that was down in the low 20s as well. So I would be interested in just a short-term flip if we get a gap down open and further weakness tomorrow morning. Anything on the hourly under 837 is just a lower high. Look at that bear volume on that flush. So APHA is in the doghouse as far as the sector bulls are concerned at this point. And there will be a nice entry opportunity eventually, but patiently waiting for this falling knife to subside after we got the bearish reaction to earnings. Never really established a clear support level after that reaction to earnings did occur. ACB, higher open today. We had resistance at 914 and we double top there. And it's actually a triple top now. So 914, 913 is a triple top. The bulls must come down and hold support of 846, establish a new support level, and then break that resistance. And we broke it pre-market, but pre-market is not as important as regular trading hours. We've got resistance at 907 and 914. Support is down at 892, 888, and 881. So the daily chart's still sideways. Don't lose sight of the weekly uptrend still intact at this point. But we do need follow through on the daily, because one thing this daily chart has done is it's held support really well. Great defense by the bulls, but they have not gone on offense at all. And they have to start breaking resistances to shift that momentum and to go on offense. But it's worth watching ACB because of that weekly uptrend. TLRY, red flag in the sense that we broke resistance and got no follow through. So we changed the hourly trend bullish by breaking resistance, but 17 cents of follow through into consolidation is a red flag. So 51.32 is resistance. If we break it, we're looking at 52.59, but we have to be cautious of a daily bear flag here, because weak bounces and trend changes on shorter term time frames with no follow through means zoom out and look for the potential of a flag. And we're going to have to break that mid 52 resistance level pretty much tomorrow to try and negate the possibility of this bear flag. OGI, double top, 940. Or actually, 894 and 895 is our double top from the last 2 days. So the bulls want to see a hold of the hourly higher lows. Right now, I'm looking at 883 as a short-term support level, followed by 869. And the bulls have to break the double top at 895, and there's a resistance level at 901 right after it. But we have to change the hourly trend, which we have not done yet. So OGI is trying to see a shift in momentum and a weekly higher low established. And actually, we did lose one support level on the weekly. That's not a significant loss of support to me, because it was just a real brief consolidation move after such a significant move overall. But we need to change the hourly trend. If we change the hourly trend, anything under 940 is just a daily lower high, but the bulls want to give themselves space to be able to form the higher low and then change the daily trend if we're going to shift this momentum. Hexo. So Hexo getting the coverage initiation. Look at that volume come in. That's a huge boost of confidence for the bulls. Weekly higher low established. Look at the exponential support. 12 period. Every period of consolidation on the weekly time frame in 2019 has held this support level. So now we're looking up at resistance after a very strong close at the high of the day. 891, $9, and 908 are the next resistance levels. How extended are we on the hourly time frame? We have not formed a higher low compared to the low of the day. So we do have to be cautious because it is extended on the hourly, but we're going to anticipate that when we do consolidate, we're just going to be looking for an hourly higher low to form. And a little bit of a double top at the end of the day by 1 penny. So if we were unable to break that resistance tomorrow morning, we would anticipate the hourly consolidation would be beginning. And if we do break it, we just know we're overextended and we should expect hourly consolidation. And when it comes, it will be healthy for the bulls overall. TRST finally got its bounce going. Daily inside bar bull break at 942 and 946 at the same time. Gave confidence on that move. And the consolidation on the hourly is attempting a bull flag. No red flags whatsoever on that consolidation at this point. If the bulls can hold that low of 961 and then see a bull break of 980, then that hourly bull flag will be confirmed and we'll be looking at further upside. Next resistance level will be up at 989 after 980. But finally getting that oversold bounce underway after just long, drawn-out downtrend. It's still a downtrend on the daily. Anything under 1041 is a lower high. But it's the first clear shift in momentum and the most significant bullish showing that we've seen since that earning dump. VFF, congrats to the bulls. And pretty much anybody that went bearish after Citron released their news, if they did not cover, they're in the red. because when we released it, or when they released it, we were trading in the mid 16s, and we are now over the mid 16s. That is a complete recovery and very impressive. A lot of shorts were forced to cover. A lot of shorts took losses. So it is a daily inside bar. We did close at the high of the day. And if we cannot break 1762, that's the most important resistance level for me. And I would be shocked if that level breaks, considering the size of the dump and the size of the bounce at this point. If we do not break that level, we need to form a higher low, reestablish a new support level, and then make another attempt at it. Short-term support is 1570. If that level were to break without breaking 1762, we would say, all right, our lower high on that move is in, and I would be looking at the 4-hour time frame for clarity, and we would be looking for an equilibrium where we have our high at 1762, our low of 1312. We would then be looking for a lower high to form if we reject from 1762. Come on, TradingView. And then we would look for a higher low to form compared to 1312. So inability to break 1765 and loss of the hourly uptrend, look for a 4-hour equilibrium. And again, congrats to the bulls. Man, if I were to look back and look at the bounce position that I played on the $10 flush on the US side of things, that would be a multi-month maker if I had held that this whole way. But not going to lament about that too long. It was still a solid multi-day maker. T-God on the daily is not seeing any bullish follow-through. So first things first, the bulls have to change the hourly trend. And right now we are not close to, well, we are pretty close to doing it. It's a little choppy in here on the hourly. We do have a double top at 404, but this move is coming right off of a recent low. So we don't have a higher low and higher high. Bottom line is bulls have to break 404 and 413 to get this bounce going. If they do that, anything under 447 is just a daily lower high. And we have a base of support in the low 390s. So base of support is very clear. Again, bulls doing a good job on defense the last 3 days, but no offense yet. Have to break those resistances. We saw a lot of profit taking in the oil extraction subsector while we saw the USMJ names take off. So we're going to be watching, is there an inverse correlation going on here? You can see Labs, 2 days of profit taking, or 1.5 days, and the USMJ sector has been bouncing for 2 days. So it's something to keep an eye out on. Labs is seeing the weakest bounce attempt out of the 3 names that we're looking at for extraction. Anything above 424 is a daily high or low. So it is worth watching for the daily uptrend to remain intact. Hourly RSI at this point dropping down, not oversold yet. This is an hourly bear flag potentially, this little weak bounce attempt today. Increasing bear volume. Look at that bear volume. It's more than the bull volume. That's a red flag. And that's why we're pulling back so hard with such limited bounces, because of how much bear volume is coming in. But if we do drop down and break 512 tomorrow, look for hourly oversold conditions to be a good entry opportunity to try and maintain another daily higher low. So I would be interested in keeping an eye out for a Labs bullish entry opportunity tomorrow, especially if we break the low of today and get some further flushing. Short-term resistance, anything on the hourly under 545 is just a lower high, but still a daily uptrend to be watching. And we can see oils, a much different story, not nearly as much profit taking. We have clearly a double top at the all-time high, and we have a tightening hourly range to be watching into tomorrow. And we actually lost the hourly uptrend with not a lot of bear follow through at this point, which is healthy. Support is down at 53. If 53 breaks tomorrow, that means daily consolidation is underway, and we have to form a higher low, and we'll be watching the 12-period exponential support as a potential target if we break 53. And if the bulls are going to hold on here, we have to break 62 to shift that hourly momentum back in favor of the bulls. VGW, a bit of the middle of the road. So if we compare these 3, extraction, oils is still holding on the best, VGW is number 2, and Labs is number 3 with the close at the low of the day. VGW bulls bought that dip, and that's the different story. And guess what's going to be different? The amount of bear volume on the hourly. So the amount of bear volume on the hourly was not massive. It's definitely notable, but it's not nearly as massive as it was on Labs, increasing way over average, rivaling bull volume, and not so much the case here. And we look at this big spike in bear volume, but some of that was bull volume on that move. So the bottom line is Short-term resistance, we've got a bit of a double top up at 384. So 384 is a double top. This is a scenario where it's a potential inverse head and shoulders pattern. Let's see how it looks on the 15-minute time frame. It would be a left shoulder. This is the head, a rejection from resistance. The neckline's at the same point. And if we need a higher low to form, we're going to be looking for, right now, 375 is support, but we need to see the bulls form an hourly higher low and then break that resistance to shift that momentum back in their favor. If we can't break 384 tomorrow, we're going to look for a pullback, and the bulls have to then form an hourly higher low somewhere in the 360s. So bulls would love to break 384 first thing tomorrow to give confidence that the daily higher low is potentially already set at 352. Curaleaf, huge follow through. So with these ETFs, we get a glimpse. Out of two of the three ETFs, they tell us what their holding sizes are going to be. So you have to anticipate that hedge fund managers, that average Joe investor, they're looking at this and they're saying, okay, these are people playing with large amounts of money who have done extensive due diligence to establish their positions, and they're telling us what their ranking system is for who's the most bullish name on down the line. So if two of the ETFs that we have seen both have Curaleaf as their largest holding, that is the market making a statement that Curaleaf is the USMJ sector leader right now. And we got that inkling when we saw that news blitz with those 2-3 press releases from Curaleaf. They went on CNBC. That was them establishing themselves, saying, hey, here we are. We're in the lead. Pay attention to us. And the market is doing so. So a couple videos ago, maybe 2 videos ago, I was hammering the point that all of these USMJ names are in weekly uptrends, just looking for weekly higher lows. And the reason for that is if we're only looking at the daily time frame, we can really lose sight of that. We can say, oh no, Curaleaf, we had a bear flag and we saw follow through and we're getting a lot of weakness. Meanwhile, there's no bear volume. We know we're in a weekly uptrend. That tells us we should be buying the dip to maintain in a weekly uptrend. So now this looks like we're going to be ripping to all-time highs in the near-term future. It depends on what we get in terms of more buying pressure from any ETFs. But the bottom line is we're just like that. We've gone for a 25% bounce in 2 days and a little bit. And the distance we got today from the high of the day from the all-time high was less than 6% away. So with the increasing bull volume, we are going to anticipate all-time highs more likely than not. Even if we reject from the all-time high this time around, we're just going to look to pull back and form a daily higher low and give it another shot. And I made an entry into Curaleaf this morning, 4 minutes into the trading day. We saw the gap up open. I said, all right, are we going to see any profit taking on this gap up open? And we did for the first 2 minutes. So I waited 4 minutes. I said, all right, that looks like about where all we're going to get. So I made my entry into the US ticker CURLF. And at that point, it was easy to hold because we never broke the low of the day at that point. So then was just sitting on it. Again, the reason for making this entry was technical in the sense that we knew it was one of the lead strong bounces from yesterday, but it was more so fundamentals, just knowing what the ETFs were showing us and knowing what would be in front of everybody's face who is interested in the USMJ sector as Curaleaf with the sector leader. So I'm holding a position. I will probably take partial profit tomorrow if we see some continuation, or if we reject, if we can't break that high of today. We did see a flush right at the end with profit taking. Not surprising to see profit taking in the last minute because we ran up so fast. In the last hour of trading today, Curaleaf ran 5.5% before that high volume profit take. But if we cannot break the high of today, tomorrow I will be looking to scale out a bit, take some profit, and allow myself the potential to reload if we do need a daily higher low. But going to try and establish keeping a core position on Curaleaf. I'm not thrilled with my entry. I'm thrilled that it's very profitable. But in terms of, if we need a daily higher low to form, we might head right back down to my original buy-in, and I wouldn't want to see these gains evaporate. So congrats to the bulls here on Curaleaf, hourly higher low. We don't have one. That's another reason. We're very overextended on the hourly, and it all depends on how tomorrow morning goes first thing. And if we pull back, we will look for an hourly higher low to form compared to the low of today, 1245. CWeb is standing out as well for strength. And again, the last 2 days, we have now seen not nearly as strong, but a 15-16% bounce is nothing to sneeze at. And we've got increasing bull volume. The bear volume was never giving us a red flag on the daily chart, the weekly chart, just an uptrend looking for a higher low. So we need to confirm a trend change. Resistance is 29.25. We will need a daily higher low and higher high to confirm that trend change. So we're not just going to rip to all-time highs on all of these USMJ names, in my opinion, but another one with a lack of hourly consolidation. So if we do top out, we'll need an hourly higher low to form. If we lose the hourly uptrend, we zoom out to the daily. We look for the daily higher low to form, but we have nice hourly uptrend with space for the bulls to work with at this point. GTII wasn't planning on covering it, but it's one of the major names. It's trying to shift momentum as well. We're looking for a weekly higher low to form here. Not nearly as strong of an uptrend, but it is still in an uptrend. So just didn't want to ignore it, want to keep an eye on it. There's our IAN bounce. Finally, bull surge at the end of the day. So I exited 1/4 of my position. I scaled in to positions on Friday and Monday. I exited 1/4 yesterday morning, and now I'm keeping 3/4. And I'm going to do the same thing. We're anticipating a daily lower high to form because the last lower high is 787. So we're not changing the daily trend anytime soon. We have to top out, set our lower high wherever it is, and then pull back for a higher low in continuation. So I'm going to be looking to scale out into profit and then try and reload. I probably won't exit my entire position because I do like my average, and I will look to reload on a daily higher low, but going to give myself the potential to have a position if we are indeed forming our monthly higher low. So again, this is just step number 1. We don't have any confidence that our monthly higher low is set. We have to change the daily trend. We have to change the weekly trend. So don't want to get too far ahead of ourselves, which is again why I'm going to be looking to scale out into some profit because the bounce at this point is a solid 12% and we're a bit extended. Hourly support is down at 630. And this was a scenario. Unfortunately, my drawing from earlier is no longer on this chart, but I drew a big fat bull with a bullwhip behind it because we were looking for the inverse head and shoulders pattern to play out where our neckline. So first thing this morning, this is the pattern we drew, and we were saying we have to hold 606 and we need to see this bull break of 639 and 642 to break both of these levels. And we did it. So it's a clear change in trend. The head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders pattern is going from lower highs and lower lows to a higher low and a higher high. We closed very strong. The next resistance is 679 from here. And we have an hourly uptrend to be watching. Look at the 12 and 26 period exponential moving average here on the hourly time frame. We did get a little bit of a fake out in there, but it essentially crossed bearish at 780. And if we ignore that little quick spike fake out, it stayed bearish the majority of this downtrend, and now it's crossing bullish. So let's see what the bulls can do in terms of follow through. But again, not losing sight of the bigger picture. We're just looking for a daily lower high to form in the upper $6 range. OH, extremely healthy weekly consolidation, looking for a higher low, looking for a bull flag. So Curaleaf is an hourly bull or a weekly bull flag attempt. OH is attempting an hourly bull flag. Daily chart had no red flags whatsoever in volume. And the daily lower high resistance is 1194. And we will need to change the daily trend. If we break that resistance tomorrow, the odds that we change the daily trend is only going to increase. We're looking back at the all-time high, and we're currently 5.5% away from that. CL, same thing. We already broke the daily lower high. Weekly bull flag, looking back at the all-time high, and we are currently a little bit more than 5% away, 8% away. So we will need to confirm the change in trend with the higher low and higher high. Again, we're watching the hourly uptrends. When the hourly uptrends are lost, this bull move is done for now. Short-term support is 1598 on the hourly. Strong closes across the board, and we'll see if that can keep up a bit into tomorrow. What's also notable, SPY was weak today. The biotech sector and the healthcare sectors in the U.S. stock market are collapsing in the short term due to political reasons. And it's really nice to see the MJ sector completely disregard the weakness and get this bounce going. TRUL, very solid bounce off the low. Declining bull volume is notable So we're certainly looking for a lower high to form, but it's a 15% bounce. So here's our range where we're looking for this lower high to form. We have the high, low, and we're definitely looking for the lower high compared to 2118, and an equilibrium on the daily is the most likely scenario. So if you missed this bounce already, there's multiple ways to play this. You're either looking to enter on the higher low with your stop of 1643, or you're waiting for the equilibrium that we're anticipating to break one way or the other and making a trade based off of that. Hourly support for TRUL. Trying an hourly bull flag at the end of the day. 1825 is support. And last, we got KHRN. Bullish reversal candlestick on the daily finally, but we still have a pattern of lower highs every day for the last 5 days. Have to break that tomorrow with follow through over 308 to shift this momentum. It was a clear shift in momentum and the most significant bull move that we've seen in this pullback. You can see the last one was solid, but the volume was missing in the middle of that move there. Volume is steady. Let's see if the bulls can break 311, confirm the hourly bull flag, and see the daily oversold bounce get some follow through. So again, congrats to the bulls in the sector. It was a really good day today. And have your game plan established. Are you scaling out into strength? Are you holding long term as long as the weekly uptrends are intact? Are you looking for an oversold bounce play on APHA? Hope you're well. Got my praying mantis eggs today. We'll check in on those in a bit. And I'll see you tomorrow. So Adventure Time still in Lake Tahoe area, and I decided to do one more trip through Yosemite. I think I've been 4 times at this point, but I was going through by myself, and I had my buddy's jacket with me, so I set him up on a stick, and he was hanging out with me. And just my little personal tent, nice little spot in Yosemite. Like the dichotomy of that shot with 2 trees, one living, one dead, pretty much growing from the same spot. And more really cool scenery. Big mountains, raging rivers of delicious water. All of this is, again, with at this point, a 5-year-old little tiny, my first smartphone, but I am blown away by some of these pictures in terms of the quality. Great sunsets out there. This was on a fire tower on the top of a mountain after a hike. So from there, I flew back to Florida, and then from Florida, I did another road trip, and I drove up north. I forget if I had a buddy's wedding up north. I think that was it, up in Massachusetts, where I'm from originally. So I drove from Florida up the coast and stopped in North Carolina again, went through the Smoky Mountains again. So some more Smoky Mountain shots. Certainly a lot of rain there in the spring and summer. That's why it's a thriving biodiverse area. And this was a hike where we were literally up in the cloud, and that was a big ledge and a big cliff, but you wouldn't know it. Fly photobomb. So from there, did some more exploring. So we'll go through another quickie road trip. Went through some areas that I don't usually travel through as far as up the East Coast. Normally when I was going up the East Coast, it was just driving from college back to Massachusetts, and sometimes I'd do those 14 hours in one sitting, and I burned myself out in a big way. I can't do more than 4 hours right now without needing to sleep or stop driving. But 14 hours in a row, I was insane. So after this, we'll get into, I don't know, nature, planting stuff. I went and transplanted some tomatoes today, watered up on the peas, got some dill transplants, put that in. I'm a big dill fan. Still need some cilantro and some basil. Still got to plant some summer squash. So piecing it together slowly but surely as we approach May. And once we get to the end of April, that's pretty much when we're safe from frosts here in Western North Carolina. And I'll see you all tomorrow. Do good things.